of Anambra State. You know, Anambra State used to be almost educationally disadvantaged.
Reno Omokri led the protest to chase President Tinubu out of London.
No, but Reno said he went to the school.
Yes.
And
Reno
they provided evidence.
Yes, that he did not go to that school.
No, that
he
the president went to the school.
Reno Omokri, I have the video on my phone. He's one of the only persons who has gone to Chicago State University and confirmed that President Tinubu did not school there and that he was a drug lord, according to Reno's own statement. That he got a docket to show that.
But that's not what
he
Reno
said.
said.
He retracted that statement. He retracted.
Tinubu had this issue. I went to the Chicago State University. I went there. I saw this. I'm so proud of Governor Obi. I listened to him today, and I was touched. Like, do we have?
He was touched.
In Nigeria?
He said on this show that he never liked him. He made videos on that. Let me show you.
You get receipt.
Let me show you now, so that go be like, say, the mistake you will make in Nigeria is to take political jobbers for genuine statement.
But does that not include Peter Obi?
Okay, in what sense? Peter Obi made a statement publicly and said, I am not a saint, but I'm not a thief. Daddy Freeze. 98% of Nigerian politicians cannot make that statement because they are thieves.
Hello everyone, welcome back, and thank you so much for stopping by once again. So my people, this particular interview, it is very, very beautiful to listen to because Peter for Nigeria just finished Reno Omokri pata as well as TINUBU, like with evidence. So this one no be toko. So last time, Reno Omokri was in a honest bunch. So he said that he's going to bring an email that's going to destroy Peter Obi pata, like email Peter Obi sent to him. So we have been waiting to see this particular email, to see the crime Peter Obi committed, right? You can't even believe what Reno Omokri posted today. Even at the end of the day, people are saying this is AI generated. Like, Reno Omokri just digress and also mock himself today. But in this particular interview, oh my God, this is bombshell. Because Peter for Nigeria carry woto can't give Reno Omokri as well as TINUBU. And I love how serious he is about electoral reforms. Like, without electoral reforms, that's why I'm not even much interested in this 2027 election, because what happened in 2023 is going to repeat itself if nothing is done about electoral reform. So let me just leave you guys to listen to this particular and wonderful interview, because this is a must watch, even when Daddy Freeze asked him about Peter Obi, working with Abacha, this and that. I love what he said, as well as the reply he gave to Daddy Freeze. Just take a listen.
Remember, I mentioned electoral reforms.
Yes, sir.
As we did like this for Nigeria, for many people, 2027 will be like, say, next week.
Yes.
Because the way when they plan for that, may God keep us alive and well.
Amen.
Now, why some people, they decamp from one political party to the other, some people don't begin to strategize so that they will fulfill their ambition. The way when be say they move, you leave the people when they decamp, you leave people when they strategize, you go for the referee, the electoral umpire. It be like, say, you and INEC now put one leg inside trouser. Make I ask you, elections were conducted in 2023. The people when feel some type of way go court. Court reason the matter, say, okay, now like this he go. And everybody don't move on. But he be like, say, you never move on. Because you hold the trouser of the person when blow whistle for that election. And you the one up, say, the one way come for front, he must do well. Make I just allow you. Waiting be this talk with INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, and 2027.
Thank you very much. I greet all of you now. Nigeria know they hold elections. Waiting Nigeria they hold na Shege Subscription Renewal Program, SSRP. This program is meant every 4 years conducted so that you go intensify the degree of sufferhead and pain upon Nigerians every 4 years. That is why you go ask yourself the question, why be say, no matter how bad one leader be, when the next person come, you go start to miss that other one. We've been thinking that Jonathan was passed on Nigeria. That was the thinking. And then Buhari came. Because there was even Occupy Nigeria, he must go. Buhari came, everybody say, At the end of Buhari, when they shout, say Baba, at the end, they started shouting Bama, so even for not. Because there was one day Buhari visited his hometown. The day he reached there, bandits attack and kidnap more than 200 children. Meaning the hand of incompetence is long enough to go round, whether you support or not. Then Buhari left, and then TINUBU has come now. People don't they talk, say maybe Buhari been better. Imagine seeing waiting go make you miss TINUBU.
Hey, God forbid.
So what we call government in Nigeria is organized criminality. Every sector in Nigeria is in shambles. But the major problem is that Nigeria, we have wasted time talking about the problem instead of handling the solution. If we call ourselves a democracy, the hallmark of every democracy is free, fair, and credible elections. Elections are not just part of a democracy, they are the foundation of a democracy. Because in democracy, power must come from the people. So what we have been doing is telling ourselves a lie, a deceit. Because why I say that is most important is because that is the first system of accountability. Why I leave people where they decamp, the people where they go, is because they boast an arrogance of corrupt politicians is a criminal electoral process.
Please say that again.
The arrogance and confidence of a corrupt political class is in a criminal electoral process because they know they can weaponize it against the people. There is no politician who will know that there is an electoral process that has the capacity to vote me in and vote me out that will conduct themselves in the way that Nigerian politicians are doing. Why will somebody be defecting to the APC? Is it because they have done so well? And why is it that when one person defects to a party, automatically change the entire voting pattern of that state? Shana, the governor, they think for the other people. It is because they know that there is a system to weaponize. That is why I place focus on that electoral process. Because if somebody, you talk, say that they defect, that they decamp, if everybody where they destroy Nigeria, they come together under one umbrella, what are we, the 200 million victims of their recklessness and irresponsibility, when we go come together, decide to also form our own group to hold them accountable? So while you are complaining about hunger, insecurity, poverty, lack of health infrastructure, the people that put you in that situation are preparing to come back. So you will now renew for another 4 years. So it is either you meet them at that point, because there is no other way. Even if you do revolution, you fight, you scatter everywhere, you must come back and pick leadership. So electoral reform and elections is a must do.
It's good as you don't start like this, because it is very, very clear. Say, if you not solve the problem, the result where you go get, not be one way go make belle sweet.
It no go work.
And you said something about 200 million Nigerians.
Yes.
Because it means, say, you know, if you get this number of people, they suffer. When it be said, if you do the right thing and solve the problem. But talking about doing the right thing, when we talk about reforms, now the National Assembly, constitutionally, go change our laws in order to resolve the problems we face.
Yes.
What do you think of the National Assembly under the leadership of Senator Godswill Akpabio?
In fact, this 10th National Assembly is still talking about missing former ones. Nigeria has been thinking, say, the 9th Assembly under Senator Ahmed Lawan was probably the worst. But right now, as we see, the 10th Assembly is almost the APC town hall. In the sense that the National Assembly is supposed to be, in the US Constitution where we copy, it comes first before the presidency. The idea of democracy is National Assembly. Because in a military regime, that is the only arm of government that is not available. So democracy is National Assembly. They perform oversight over executive and judiciary. Imagine a National Assembly that see themselves as subordinates to the executive, where there are no checks and balances. For 2 years, when President TINUBU go to submit budget, they greet him with what? His political mantra, on their mandate they shall fall. So when you begin to see that, and then nobody is checking anything, tomorrow nobody knows how budget they depart them and whatever. But the issue is that this issue of electoral reform, there were loopholes in the 2022 electoral law, where a lot of people no pay attention to. Nigerians say there was electoral reform. Section 60, subsection 5, said the presiding officer will transmit results in a way and manner as prescribed by INEC. The whole of elections, we are at the mercy of INEC or whoever is running it. So they will leave a loophole where judiciary go use technicality. But the question is, whether you don't believe in them or not, you must mount the necessary pressure to get the change you want. Because if you ask yourself, if you don't get it from them, when? The people will go come after them, will it be easier? So no matter how bad the institution will be, if the majority of the people unite and say enough, we demand this, it will happen.
Interesting. So, from what you don't talk now, it is very, very clear. Say, we know the problem.
Yes.
We know those when go solve them.
Yes.
But if those people not put body to solve them, the problem no go they solved. Now, it now behooves on the people who would suffer the consequences to deal with this situation. Now, before I talk about the people when go fit maybe put body to solve this problem,
yes,
you are using your voice and your platform to enlighten and inform Nigerians. Make I ask you, what if they responsible for this your decision to say, me now, I get voice, I get platform, and waiting I want use and do be this?
My love for humanity, my upbringing and personal experiences, and my knowledge to know that as I did Nigeria today, I am just a potential victim. All of us seated here, we are just one court order away from being remanded in a prison. If any politician no like waiting with the talk here, does not need to waste time. Go before a magistrate that is already having a court order pending. They put you there, adjourn the case. They say no judge. They are waiting trial. Before you know, you spend more time than a possible prison sentence. 200 people died for Benue. I'm not better than any of them. More than 400 killed in a flood in Niger. I'm not better than anybody. We must all realize that as we are, anything Nigeria can happen to you and meet you at any point. So if your fear is death, is what you prefer a life of cowardice because you were too afraid to speak up and demand for what you deserve. Life is not a la carte. It will not give you what you deserve. It is what you demand. Anything that you want to get, you must wake up and be courageous enough to demand for it. If I want to jackpot, no be people build America. If no be people build Canada. Why can Nigerians not build Nigeria? So if we continue postponing the evil day, we are just leaving ourselves and postponing our victimhood for more and more time.
All said and done. What political ideology do you submit to?
Daddy Freeze, I thank you very much because I know that the intellectual part of this question now. Do you know I do not personally like to hinge on a particular political ideology in a certain way. What I base my entire political ideology is about the betterment of humanity. Because anything has its own pros and cons. You can decide to swing this way or that way. But I am of the opinion and in the platform that you can do better through leadership and that the welfare of people and humanity must be better because you are given certain level of power and office to occupy. So that is where my political ideology comes from, that humanity is better because of the actions and decisions that we make and take.
Okay, so just recently in Rivers State, there's a lot to talk about in Rivers State, but because we're talking about elections, let's go. So they're about to have like their local government elections.
Yes.
And the sole administrator of the state has just appointed an electoral umpire to oversee the elections, the forthcoming elections.
Yeah.
And people are saying that why must it be somebody from Cross River State, his state?
His own state.
Why did he not go for somebody from River State? Then other people say, okay, but the members of the panel, there are 8 or so.
Yes.
7 of them are from River State. It's just one person from Cross River. Then other people say, no, why is the one from Cross River the head of other people from River State? Is it that there is no competent person from River State that should oversee the electoral process?
Yes.
Why is he? I mean, speak to that issue because some other people would argue that is not, you mustn't choose a person from that same state.
Yes.
He can decide to choose anybody, but others are saying no. It's being tribalistic. So I want you to speak to that issue. What do you feel?
It is very beautiful that you came up with River State. And you know that me, I'm a very leadership and solution-oriented person. We cannot talk about the symptom and leave the root cause of the problem. Why is Ibokete Iba seated in River State Government House? What is he doing there? What part of the constitution did President Tinubu use to swear in the sole administrator? And why the choice of the former chief of naval staff? The governor, the democratically elected governor of River State is on suspension by the president. And it was supposed to have been ratified by the National Assembly that should have used 2/3 majority on a serious issue, like after declaring a state of emergency. The 10th Assembly, led by Senator Akpabio, decided to use a voice vote to remove a democratically elected governor who was elected as the president. And remember what led to the situation they are today, because there was a fight between the current governor and the immediate past governor, who is supposed to be a member of PDP but is seated at the Federal Executive Council that is headed by an APC president. So it's either in PDP and APC. And why did they fall into a fight? Because according to people, they have agreement. Agreement is agreement. What is the agreement? One person thinks he's so powerful that he had the ability to pick a governor. So the entire more than 10 million indigenes of Rivers State cannot choose a governor. They wait for their outgoing governor to pick for them. If you don't fix that root cause of the problem, the talk of sole administrator is secondary. President Tinubu did not remove governor of Rivers State because he feels it is legal or illegal. Before the document went to the National Assembly, he had sworn in Chief Ibokete Iba. So it was not about legalities, because he believes he can do it and nothing will happen. There are no consequences. So if you do not fix the root cause of that issue that have led to where we are talking about, why is the sole administrator conducting elections? So you must go back there. If not, by 2027, the president can decide to wake up and suspend anybody. Suspend anybody. That is absolute state capture. So we have a one-party state. That's not a democracy.
But the elections are going to go on.
It will go on.
And the Cross Riverian is going to oversee it.
Yes.
So what do you think about that?
It is up to the people of Rivers State and Nigerians to decide what level of corruption or criminality we are ready to take. That is what Nigerian politicians do. They test you in one level. Once you submit to it, it scales up.
Okay. Democracy,
yes, sir,
as a means or mode of governance, how viable is it in Nigeria? Because we're practicing democracy,
yes,
but at the end of the day, from all you described, it doesn't look like we have elections. It looks more like we have selections.
Yes.
So do you think democracy can work in Nigeria? And if your answer is no, what other options do you think we have?
Daddy Freeze, do you know that my answer is an absolute yes? Democracy can work in Nigeria. You know, I take to that submission of, I think, the former British Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, who said that democracy is the worst system of government until you try every other system of government. To everybody who criticizes democracy, you will appreciate it when you try another one. There is a communist system in China. There are different parts. The problem with Nigeria is democracy has two faces. There is the principle and the practice of democracy. If you follow the principle of democracy in the sense of power coming from the people, holding people accountable, with people having their liberty and justice to chart their own course, beautiful. Nigerians have put democracy in principle on the side, and the democracy in practice have been hijacked by a handful of political elites who have now privatized the profits and socialized losses to Nigerians. So the people who are benefiting in democracy today are politicians. That is why on Democracy Day, June 12th, the only people you see holding parties in government houses, governor, president, they go there, they open bed, they cut cake. Nigerians who are on the street are asking, where are the dividends of this democracy? So democracy as it is a viable system of government, but it is what we make of it. It is as viable as we are willing and ready to fight for it, because lack of it we do not exist in a vacuum. We are the collateral for any type of democracy that does not function well.
How do you define good governance in practical terms, and what are the first three reforms you believe would genuinely change Nigeria for the better today?
Good governance is simple. It is good governance. Governance that is good, that everybody is enjoying. Where the average person wakes up with a sense of responsibility and citizenship to a country, where you are proud of your heritage as a person. When you can come out and say that I am Nigerian, I am proud of my roots, my passport is opening doors for me, I earn the respect on the international stage as every other citizen of any nation in the world. Where that every child is given equal opportunity to live up to their God-given potentials. That is what good leadership will be about. But unfortunately, what we have today is the textbook definition of how now to govern a country. So if we want to talk about reforms, the judiciary is bad, the law enforcement system is in shambles, the civil service, the health sector, the oil sector. But as I have always said, the number one priority must be the electoral process. Why? Because unfortunately, the judicial arm of government are the only unelected arm of government. They are appointed by the executive, confirmed by the Senate. So for you to fix if we do a protest now to pursue the judges, then they'll be reappointed by President TINUBU and are confirmed by Senator Akpabio and his people there. So you must now fix the process through which the executive and legislative arms get into power. Because if you don't have control of that process, they continue to recycle themselves. That is why you see yourself in a vicious circle of lamentations. Nigeria's problem do not change. You only discuss it on different platforms. If you are talking about fuel subsidy, there was protest before. Inflation, it was before. Insecurity, it was before. You will just continue to regurgitate on it because you have not fixed the root cause and foundation of the problem.
You know, you've been championing this cause, this electoral reform cause, and I see it every time I follow up. but I want to know the progress. I want to know
progress
the progress
report.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that a lot of Nigerians also need to know where, at what level is it now? Do we have hope day? What's the level of progress, please?
Should I be very honest with you? Nigeria has become so bad that if you know the number or percentage of persons who do not believe that anything can work in this country, it is frightening.
Chai.
A lot of Nigerians have made up their minds that free and fair election are a mirage. You can't have it in Nigeria. When you have become a victim, it's like a person who has been in so much of an abusive relationship with his spouse. You become even fearful to leave because you believe that any other person you meet is the same thing. That is where Nigerians are. So this issue of elections, there are a lot of persons who will tell you outrightly that, Peter, you are wasting your time. It won't work. Because, and of a truth, there is good reason for that. Asking for electoral reform is like asking for resignation of the entire politicians who are there today. Who is going to sign my own resignation to leave? But the more reason why they will refuse is the more reason why you must insist. Because you know that you will now begin to ask yourself, the power of the people and the people in power, who should be greater? If calculate everybody who is in government, from the presidency, National Assembly, governors, 36, State House of Assembly, how many of them and how many are they holding hostage? So at a point, we become accomplices to our oppression. We are now voluntary slaves. So when it comes to this issue of election, even in the government quotas, because a lot of persons have been reaching out, we have heard a lot. Politicians are doing everything to ensure that it doesn't gain traction. This issue, that is why every other thing, they don't mind to bring a distraction. And with every day you spend time talking about something else from 2027 is a waste of time. They are consolidating on 2027. This government is one of the only governments who came in 2023 and less than 1 year began campaign for the next election. This current government is more interested in politics than governance. So if you are not interested in that politics by 2027, you are already on the back foot. So it doesn't matter. A lot of people have good reason why they will not be interested. I mean, there are people who were championing good causes. Reno Omokri was here some time ago. And then recently he was talking about how, Nigeria is an oil poor country and all of that. Imagine a mentality or a mindset of people where you value your resource or your riches with your natural resource. It's against your human capital development. The wealth of a country is being measured by how many oil we have. Meanwhile, if you take all of Nigeria's oil and give them good leadership, they will still be wealthier than some of the nations in the world. How many oil does Singapore have?
That's deep.
So when you see people like that who held the trust of the public, take a 360 and begin to glorify what they once condemned, people have good reason not to believe in the process. But at the end, I keep asking everybody, what is your other choice? Keep quiet and continue to die. Whether or not we speak up, Nigeria can happen to you. It's better we find the courage. So we are still in this, clarion call and calling on people. A lot of persons are coming in. Gradually, as I talk, they change. Maybe not immediately, but eventually. Nation building is not a sprint, it's a marathon. We keep trying.
Very true. So you said something that this government is more interested in politics than governance.
Yes.
Recently, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu launched the Renewed Hope Agricultural Program. Now, 2 years in office, the president promised to make agriculture, sexy again.
Yes.
And ensure that we are, self-sufficient, we can feed ourselves, and we don't have any issues because the land is green.
Yes.
But there were some very important questions that you asked.
Yes.
I would like for you to talk about the program first. This new agricultural program that has been launched. And then those questions that you posed, what exactly and why exactly did you pose those questions?
That is why I pose those questions, because to re-emphasize my first statement that Nigeria, what we call government, is organized criminality. So criminality is just cascaded to the other tiers of government. Without accountability, if you give local government autonomy, what you are doing is local government autonomy for corruption. If you diversify to agriculture, you are diversifying corruption to agricultural sector. The Renewed Hope agenda, according to, sending, and by the way, that was where President Tinubu met his schoolmate. I don't know if you went to Chicago, any of you went to Chicago State University here too.
I had my master's there.
Oh, you had your master's?
I'm joking.
Okay. Mr. Alex?
CSU.
Was he one of your persons? So, I'm sure that was where...
No, but Reno said he went to the school.
Yes.
Reno
and
actually said so.
They provided evidence.
Yes, that he did not go to that school.
No,
that he
the
went to
president
that
went to
school.
the school.
Reno Omokri, I have the video on my phone. He's one of the only persons who has gone to Chicago State University and confirmed that President Tinubu did not school there and that he was a drug lord, according to Reno's own statement. That he got a docket to show that. Reno Omokri is one of the only persons who has gone to that school to confirm.
No,
But that's not what
Reno
he said.
He
said.
Yeah.
retracted that statement.
I think I think he said it, then went to the
diploma.
school, found out, and then retracted.
Yeah, he
Bola
retracted.
Tinubu had this issue. I went to the Chicago State University. I went there, I saw the documents myself. Bola Tinubu is a known drug lord. I went there. Another person isn't telling me. You see the picture on the screen? I took that picture. If you move to the right, you're going to see me in that picture. Bola Tinubu is a known drug lord. He has this man who's going to be the Minister of Labor and Productivity, or rather say on productivity, who went on TV to try to hoodwink Nigerians, telling them that the charge against Bola Tinubu was just for tax, that all he paid was tax, that it had nothing to do with drugs. That is a big lie. I have the document here. Nigerians can see it. I hope you can see it on the screen here. I have the document here. It actually says, and if you look at it, it says docket. A docket, and as I'm speaking, your viewers can go on Google and fact check me.
In any case, what he was establishing here is the fact that he went to go and establish that the president is a known drug lord that was convicted, talking about his drug forfeiture case in the United States, and why he did not attend or complete whatever program he claimed to have completed in the Chicago State University. So when you see a person like Reno Omokri make a 360, the mistake you will make in Nigeria is to take political jobbers for genuine statesmen. Not everybody who criticizes a bad government is interested in a better country. A lot of persons are okay to take corruption for as long as they are beneficiaries of it. You can criticize corruption, but the question is, if the tables turn and it begins to favor you, is it still corruption? Have you seen when Reno Omokri was singing praises of a person like Mr. Peter Obi? He said on this show that he never liked him. He made videos on that. Let me show you.
You get receipt.
Let me show you now, so that he no go be like, say, nah, this thing.
But let's talk about Peter Obi while you're looking for the video.
The video is here.
Peter Obi, when he came in for the National Prayer Breakfast. But you see, I listened to this man. I listened to Governor Peter Obi. And, ex-Governor Peter Obi, the plans, the ideas, this man raised the bar of leadership in Nigeria. He raised the bar of leadership in Nigeria. Since he left office, can you believe that this man does not take anything, not even like a penny from the Anambra State government? And while he was there, he was the man that built up Anambra State. Anambra State used to be almost educationally disadvantaged. And then in less than 2 years, he brought them to be number one. He left that state with a reserve. Look, we need people like this. I'm so proud of Governor Obi. I listened to him today, and I was taught that do we have
He was
like
touched.
this in Nigeria? I'm very proud of this man.
Wow.
Look at everything that he has touched. He made money for himself in the private sector.
Ah.
He made money for Anambra State in government. Anambra State doesn't borrow money. Are you aware of that? These bailout funds that the current administration is giving states. Anambra State, he left enough for Anambra State. I'm very proud of this man.
Wow. But he was only doing something because former President Jonathan sent him. So it was former President Jonathan who sent him to sing these praises and adoration. You see, Nigerians, a lot of Nigerian politicians cannot survive opposition. Once your government has left office, you left office in 2015 with President Jonathan. You tried to fight the Buhari government. You couldn't come back. You were almost like a fugitive in a foreign country. You know that the only way you can come back and reconnect to that conduit of collecting from the national cake is to begin to sing praises of the current administration. So people will go back and swallow their words. No, Reno Omokri led a protest to chase President Tinubu out of London. He led a protest, the hotel where they went there, and he boasted about it. It is Reno Omokri who is telling you that he never liked President Jonathan and that President Tinubu is the next good thing best thing after sliced bread. Take Nigerian politicians at their word at your own risk.
But does that not include Peter Obi?
Okay. In what sense?
Yesterday, a video came out about Peter Obi's brother, who turned out not to be his brother. And about the whole land thing. And I always say something. This is my opinion, though. I don't believe there's any politician that is better than the other. It's like comparing AIDS, with herpes, or syphilis.
Yeah.
None
all
is
are killer
good.
diseases.
You understand? It's just that sometimes if you're on the right medication, HIV will look normal. It's not like it's good.
Yeah.
Because I'll give you some example. You did mention the 10th under
The 10th
Assembly under Senator Akpabio. But Senator Akpabio was one of the best governors. His reforms in Akwa Ibom,
uncommon governor.
The work he did in Akwa Ibom, I can argue it was way better than the work Obi did in Anambra. But you see, like I said, a politician will always be a politician. And we talk about Obi. My greatest criticism of Obi, I love him as a person.
Yeah.
I think he's brilliant and all, but I can't divorce him from the fact that he worked hand in hand with Abacha. He was the MD of the National Ports Authority. Under a regime like General Sani Abacha's regime.
Yeah.
We know that in this world, the corruption of a country starts at its ports.
Yeah.
How can we have this great, fantastic political leader who is a saint today but worked with General Abacha? What are your...
Daddy Freeze, let me make it very clear here. Let me say that as much as a lot of what you will say is right, all politicians are not the same. There is no perfect human being. But the current governor of Abia State is not the same with the current governor of Kogi State. All politicians are not the same. Nigerians have an idea that you may need to look for a saint, but there is corruption even in the Vatican where the Pope is. There is corruption in Mecca where people go as the Holy Land to go and stone the devil at the Mount of Arafat. The issue is, are the characters and competencies of a person pointing to the fact that you can use public office for public good? If you want to check on those bases, Peter Obi, a person like him, has been consistent with his politics. From being governor, he made a statement. Peter Obi made a statement publicly and said, I am not a saint, but I'm not a thief. Daddy Freeze, 98% of Nigerian politicians cannot make that statement because they are thieves. Yes. Government in Nigeria is criminality. And look, if you want to really be fair to the person of Peter Obi, of course he could have worked in the Abacha administration, he could have worked, but what has been his track record? What was his wealth before going into public office as a governor? What did he get after? Remember that for the kind of opposition Peter Obi has been, if there was one thing that the government could have had against Peter Obi, he should be in court. The person who succeeded Peter Obi, Chief Wilberforce Obiano, is in the EFCC books questioning for money laundering.
Could it be that Peter Obi already had, because you see, there's no way we can divorce this Abacha. You cannot be head of port and then you tell me that I lived. I'm 49 this year. I was in university when Abacha was in power.
Yes,
and I'm aware of what I'm aware of. A lot of you might not be aware of the smelling fuel. Do you remember the 6 months of smelling fuel?
No.
I only heard of that.
I witnessed it. I used to enter inside Danfo and you want to die. And this fuel was imported. It passed somewhere to get into this country.
Yeah.
So, yes, I understand. Ideology for ideology, yes, I understand. But I still worry. Let me put it that way. About his, can I say, romance with the government of Abacha. Maybe if he can draw some clarity, maybe if he can give us some clarity, okay, when I work with General Sani Abacha, this and this, that might just make me switch over to his side.
Okay, because it is important that you interrogate that, because we are going to put the flip side on the other side. Because if not Peter Obi, the other persons and the role they played, from the Third and Fourth Republic up to this point. So we have to put it on a scale and a balance. The role of Peter Obi as at that time and the role of these others leading up till today. You watch the recent interview by Alhaji Sule Lamido, the former governor of Jigawa State, on what the current president allegedly his role throughout the Nadeko and Abacha and Abiola issue.
Absolutely.
Which he has, glorified and even put himself as the center, as a, whatever it is called, a hero of democracy. All we are trying to say is that, can you get leadership that you can hold accountable? Can you get leadership? Because, Daddy Freeze, we would not get St. Peter or St. Paul to become president of Nigeria. the Nigerian that will be president will be amongst the 200 and so million of us that are here.
Mm-hmm.
I have a past. You have a past. Is your past nasty, too nasty for you to hold public office? At least within the 8 years that Peter Obi was governor, he has made a case for himself. Do you know that Professor Charles Soludo, the current governor of Anambra State, did not support him in 2023? Even though he ran on his popularity to become governor. He supported the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. He came out with a scathing rebuke of Peter Obi before the elections and said that was just going to be part 1. He tested the waters. When he saw the feedback, till today, Professor's solution has not brought part 2. He said in that book, in that statement, he said, I am current governor and I have the records. Obi came out and said, whatever records you have, reproduce them. It cannot be that 2 successive governors can cover up everything now. So even if we don't want to go, or we can't go as far back, of which legitimately you can ask questions about his role, what he did in that administration as a ports authority head. But within the period that now that people have followed, he has come out with a record that what exactly was it? Most of the politicians we have, what was their economic or financial stand before they got into public office? What was President Tinubu doing before he became a politician? People in Nigeria, politicians have wealth without enterprise. People go into public office 4 years, become billionaires, and they call them philanthropists. With which person money? You carry state money, they use person money do philanthropy.
No possible.
Then you are going to pocket it. The money you should have used to provide blanket health insurance for all people, you pocket. Then one person go sick, you go give him. He go naked, go stand for beach. They pray for you during election. Say make you win. As against what? Please, when we talk about character and competence, I think that a person like Peter Obi, even if I'm not holding his place, have proven anybody that will tell you that I was not withdrawing from my salaries as a governor and I am not taking any pension. The current pension scheme of President Tinubu includes overseas medical treatment for a non-specified number of family members. Have you read the pension scheme of Lagos State governors? Including routine changing of cars, security vehicles, houses in Maitama, in the choice places in Asokoro or Maitama, in Lagos. Have you seen the Lagos State governor's pension bill? The salary of a former governor.
Wait, Lagos State governor?
Yes.
Has a house, or is supposed to have a house.
On your retirement, you are supposed to have a house.
In Abuja.
And Lagos. Go and download them and check. And Obi comes out and tell you that they even gave me land and I wrote a letter to reject. Look, it is not, you cannot get a person as a saint, or you cannot claim to be a perfect person. But when it comes to the character, capacity, and consistency in public office, I think that we should be fair to a person like Peter Obi. We are talking about YX certificate of president. We are looking for schoolmates. We just saw Mr. Alex after many years. And so let's be fair and honest with ourselves. Do you know that in 2015 rather, or 2019, I voted Atiku Abubakar and Obi ticket. I have always known that the Buhari issue will be a calamity. APC was headed for destroying Nigeria. It is not, anybody who had any political foresight will know that. Is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar a saint? No. But he's one of the most cosmopolitan Nigerians we have in this country when it comes to politics. He's somebody who can be a friend to any part of the country. And he can be a bridge for you to link the old and new. You cannot get all at once. Get one person that you know can connect you to the generation you want. If you want to wait until a saint come, we may never have it.
Talking about the younger generation, as you mentioned, generation, with what the coconut head generation. What we have been through over these past years, from 2020 to the elections, the whole violence, the disenfranchisement of people by way of, them looking for their cards. I mean, without my voter's card, I can't vote. So I'm not seeing my card. Then after a while, they're seeing 1 million cards or 300 cards somewhere in the bush. Yes. Those people voters have been disenfranchised. With everything that we have been through, or we have been through. And a couple of people, if you ask them, they will say, I beg, I don't want to waste my time. I mean, I think that the momentum of the last election was so high that after it, the disappointment, there was just like a dip.
Yes.
What do you think about the forthcoming election? Do you think that we are ever going to have the type of momentum that we had during the last election? Do you think that the youth are going to show up the way that they showed up the last time?
Incoming.
By the special grace of
God. Should I answer that question? Let me ask you this question. When you are under oppression, how long do you fight for freedom?
Until you regain freedom.
but for as long as it takes. You do not have an option. Incoming. You can be going out today, God forbid. A lawyer was killed in Ajah when she was going to drop her child 2 years ago by police stray bullets. Nigeria can meet you. Your own may not even be a stray bullet. Somebody in your family might be rushed to loot now and there is no oxygen. The difference between a Nigerian, you are one emergency away from being confirmed dead in Nigeria. It might even be that there is an ambulance, but because there is no road infrastructure, they no green let the ambulance pass. There is no special lane. It can be as small as that. It can be light that take off, be power that takes off.
At the theater.
At the theater while there is operation. And then doctor begin to use torch. And because there is shortage of doctors now, in fact, in Nigeria today, if you want to die, go to the hospital.
Wow.
Yes, if you want to be a sinner, go to church. If you want to be, yes, that is it. If you want to be robbed, go to the police station. Oh, I know you like it. If you want to be robbed, go to police station.
Now, I want to bring you. Oh, so sorry. Just this because we're talking about Peter Obi. I wanted to land here. I used to be a great Obi supporter.
Yeah.
Until I made a statement once, and obedience came for me.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, "Oh, I can't deal with this."
With this.
How can I love the way you respond?
Yes, sir.
You are with a smiling face. You are not condescending. If you are not an obedient, you're a fool, you're an idiot. You are talking facts and figures. You are intelligent and intellectual. Maybe that can bring some people who ran away because of the madness that you say one thing about Obi, you trend for 2 weeks, and you know they are coming for you. How can you take this mentality to the people? Let's discuss. We don't have to be enemies. We don't have to support the same party system or the same ideology, but we don't need to throw stones at each other before we can. How do you, because I'm sure you are aware of the antecedents of our brothers and sisters.
You are asking an absolutely beautiful question. It is very, very important because I have my own personal concerns. And especially, I just had to talk about Obi because it came up on this forum. This electoral reform we are talking about, we want to ensure that we do it as Nigerians and not with a partisan coloration. Nigerians have a mindset which is very, very erroneous, that when you love people, you cannot criticize them. Nigerians like to make oracles or demigods out of human beings. Every time I tell obedience when we have discussions, I'm not loyal to, for example, Peter Obi. I'm loyal to your values, the values you hold that I share, of humanity, of integrity, of competence. If you are a thief, I'm not loyal to you. I don't have it. And you are not the only path to a better Nigeria. If you fail to do it, God will raise people. There are Nigerians who have the capacity. But at this point, you can be a vessel that will be used now. But everybody has the right to question. Even Peter Obi does not go against dissent. He will even tell you that if I come to a place and everybody say they love me, I will walk out of it. It is fanatical fans. It is Nigerians who believe that once you question a thing, it is hate or anger. That is where that mindset comes from. So don't talk about him in a negative light. No, because you believe that you are more Catholic than the Pope. So you love him more than we. But even the Bible says that the child that he loves, he chastises. We should disagree but not be disagreeable. After all, in the end of it all, Shebina make Nigeria better, all of us they fight for, including even the Obi himself. So why should we not discuss and where there are gray areas? Sometimes you see some people who go on TV and say, oh, they disagree with this, and then you see it online, they begin to bash. I said, no. Let us have a consensus and all of us. The important thing is that we are not enemies of each other. Our common enemy is a failed system. If we spend time pushing ourselves aside and then we break our stronghold, at the end of it, the person you are talking about does not achieve power that he's supposed to achieve. What does it pay us if we continue to divide ourselves? So it is something that at every forum, when I have the opportunity to engage with some people and I let them know that disagreements, that is how I was brought up. My father, the way I'm talking to you is how I talk to my late father, and he's okay with it. Daddy, I don't like the way, why did you do this to my mother, or why did you? And he wants to train you to be courageous enough that even if you love me, be bold enough to query where you believe that I'm wrong. Nobody's an island of knowledge. Obi can make mistake now. So why not? So Nigerians must unlearn that when you love, or they must learn it that when you love people, you should be bold enough to correct them. It is still love. The important thing is let's achieve our goals.
So my people, that is it. That was bombshell. Peter for Nigeria just set the record straight. Like, he was not beating around the bush. He said it as it is. And right now, Reno Omokri is supposed to hide his face in shame. And it is even surprising that some people are still believing Reno Omokri. Some people are still supporting him, like hailing him, knowing fully well that whatever Reno Omokri is saying, he just saying because of what he wants to benefit from this TINUBU government. So he said that he's going to expose Peter Obi. Look at what he just brought out today. Something that doesn't even make any sense, my people. Honestly, Reno Omokri is not normal. And they just as Peter for Nigeria just said, that Peter Obi is the best among all these politicians we have today. Like, you cannot compare Peter Obi with all these politicians. Just as we have been saying it here, that if the so-called new party or this coalition they are forming, like they really want to unseat TINUBU, like they need to make Peter Obi the flag bearer. So anything more than this, then I don't know, maybe they are just working for TINUBU, right? So my people, I say make I bring this update to you guys. Do wait to subscribe, share the video, because this video is a must watch for every Nigerian. Yes. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section as always. I will see you guys in my next update. Goodbye for now.